Morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Get Out and Explore with John. Today I find myself in the Adirondack Mountains, and I'm going to be hiking to the highest point in New York, Mount Marcy. It's a Monday morning, about 8 o'clock. Got a little bit later start than I was hoping for, but I just left the information center there, and they said it's about a 7.5 mile hike one way up to the top with about 3,000 feet of elevation gain. So it's going to be a pretty strenuous hike to get up to the high point, but I'm looking forward to it, and I want to bring you along with me. We got to sign in over here at the registration so that in case anything happens, they can come find me later on this afternoon. So let's go sign in. All right, here's the registration kiosk for all the hikers that are going up to the high elevations. So let's go and sign in. All right, let's get to hiking. So like I said, it's a Monday morning around 8 o'clock. Temperatures in the upper 50s currently, and it's supposed to get up to upper 70s down here at the bottom of the mountain. The rangers at the information center said that it's probably going to be around 40 up at the summit with some pretty good wind. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully we don't have any issues and we can make it up and back. Usually takes hikers an average of about 8 to 10 hours. I'm going to try and shoot for the lower end of that, see how things go. And if I make it up to the top, this will be my 15th state high point that I've reached, so hopefully I can get up there and get back in one piece. So one thing I did want to mention was that there are many different trails to get up to the top of Mount Marcy. This is called the Van Hovenberg Trail, I believe, and said it's about 7.4 miles or so up to the top. We're going to be going through the woods here for a little while. We're going to be going by the Marcy Dam, I believe it's called, and then we'll start our ascent up Marcy. So I'll show you everything along the trail as we make our way up to the top. Mount Marcy's expansive view make it a popular destination for hikers who crowd its summit in the summer months. Beautiful forest back in here, nice and quiet. Seen a couple people on the trail so far, but pretty much I got it all to myself at this point. We'll see how it is when we get up to the top. I got a little bit of a elevated boardwalk section here. Pretty nice. We must be getting ready to go over, over the little stream here, huh? This is just gorgeous out here. Wow. Just beautiful. Love the sound of the water rushing by. Look at some of the moss here around these trees. Gives it a little feeling of being in an enchanted forest back in here. Check out this mushroom. It's like a little bird bath in there. I'm not sure what kind of mushroom that is. I'll try to look it up and let you know. That is pretty cool looking. All right, looks like we're coming up to splitting the trail here. We're entering the state land boundary High Peaks Wilderness area. I guess if you go to the right, you're going to the Fangdorn Forest. But we are going to be taking the trail to the left here, heading up to Marcy. Let's keep on going. Definitely looks like it's been raining up here. A lot of the trail, it's got puddles and mud. So I guess we're gonna get a little dirty on today's hike, but that's all right. Still having a great time out here. This is just so peaceful. Listening to the birds and the stream running by the trail here. Well, obviously the trail is very well defined, so I don't think there's any chance of you getting off trail here, but I did notice that they are using this bright neon flagging on the trees to mark the path, as opposed to painting blazes on the trees like I'm used to down in the mid-Atlantic area. So I was just wondering if anybody knows why they use the flagging as opposed to painting blazes on the tree. If you could put a comment down below so we can all learn together. And here's one drawback for using that flagging. I see people are pulling it off the trees, and I found bunches of this stuff laying on the ground here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up, pack it on out of here. So I'm just really curious as to why they use that system. All right, let's see what this sign up here says. Dig it. Please bury human waste and toilet paper off the trail. Good trail practice there. Just a reminder for everybody. All right, and again, another trail sign out here. Let's see. Marcy Dam lean-tos to the left. Mount Marcy. Going to be ascending 3,224 feet. It says 6.7 miles. So we're going to be taking a left towards the dam here. The first recorded ascent of the mountain was made by a party led by Ebenezer Emmons in 1837, who named it after then New York Governor William L. Marcy. One of the mountain's most notable ascents was made in 1901, when Theodore Roosevelt climbed it with his family, and learned during his descent that William McKinley was dying and that he was going to become President of the United States. Well, I'm hearing a pretty big river off to the side over here. I don't know if we're going to get any views. Maybe there's a waterfall. I'm not sure. We're getting close to the dam, so it's possible that it's the water from that area there. A big thanks to whoever had to carry these big pieces of wood in here to do trail maintenance and building these little walkways over the mud. All right, well, I'm continuing to hear that water running alongside the trail, and it looks like there's a little spur off to the side here. Maybe we can get a view. And since this channel is called Get Out and Explore with John, we're gonna go explore and see what we can find. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is beautiful. It's a big river here. I don't know what it's called, but wow, it's beautiful. I'll try not to fall into the water, but man. Still following the trail here. The river's running right beside us. And I think we're coming up on a clearing up here that's going to be the remains of the Marcy Dam. And for those who are interested and or need, there's a privy right off the side of the trail here. I'm not going to take you in there, but there it is. Let's go down here. I think we're going to actually cross the stream here and or see the dam, the remains of the dam. So this ought to be pretty interesting. It's going to be the first actual landmark that we've come to on the trail here. We're at about 2.25 miles in on the trail. And this is going to be what remains of the Marcy Dam. Let's go check it out. All right, here's the remains of the Marcy Dam. Beautiful. And look at this gorgeous valley down in here. My goodness, that is just amazing. Let's take a closer look at the dam. Let's see. Oh yeah. Look at that. This one was just made out of stone with wood reinforcing. There it is. The Marcy Dam remains. Just take a look at that gorgeous, gorgeous valley there. Wow, that's just beautiful. And it looks like the sun's come out. The clouds have burned off, so hopefully, I think we are actually going to get a view when we get up to the top of the mountain. We're still on the approach trails. We'll be ascending the mountain here shortly, but yeah, this is looking really good for nice views up at the top this afternoon. Well, I was so excited to get up here to see the dam, I almost walked right by this. Here's a USGS benchmark that was placed here in 1942, and it says that the elevation here is 2,365 feet. I would imagine most people walk right by that like I almost did and want to go check out the dam. But there is a benchmark here. And then we've looked at the dam, the remains of the dam, and now the trail to Marcy is off to the left. So let's keep on hiking. All right, well, of course, you know, while we're here, we got to do a little bit of exploring. So there's a little trail here that goes down to the side of the river, and we're going to get to see the view of the dam from the bottom. This ought to be pretty cool. Oh yeah, very neat. Whoa. And here's the dam from the bottom, what's left of it. So I guess at one point when the dam was here, that whole valley was flooded, but I think it looks much better the way it is today. An early version of the dam was built by the CCC during the 1930s, and it was rebuilt as most recently as the early 1970s. In 2011, during Hurricane Irene, the dam was damaged due to flooding, and the pond was partially drained. All right, everyone, well, here's the remains of the Marcy Dam. If I can find anything online about the dam, I'll look it up and try to give you some information, but this is what remains of the dam today. The state of New York also added that new standards for this type of structure and that they were applying the principles of wilderness management, including allowing rivers and streams to flow unfettered and to minimize human-made structures. All right, as soon as we come over the bridge, it's going to be another trail split here and another privy. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It says Van Hoverberg Trail to Mount Marcy is going to be to the right, so let's keep hiking. All right, here's a view of another stream that's coming down into that valley. Wow, that water's really rushing there. Very pretty. Almost like a little swimming hole right there. But that water is freezing cold though. I'm not going to get in it on purpose, but it is beautiful to look at. Okay, now that we've gone past Marcy Dam, we're gonna start our ascent up. Looks like trail is still very rocky. When the rocks are wet, it looks like they're very slippery. So we're gonna take our time, make sure we don't slip and fall, and get to the top safely. All right, so after crossing that stream, the trail is completely covered in rocks here, and a little river running down the trail, so it's definitely not getting any easier. We're slowly gaining some elevation here. Hike kind of reminds me of my hike up to the top of Mount Mansfield in Vermont when I hiked the high point of Vermont over there. Very similar. We'll see what happens when we get to the top. That day when I got to the top of Mount Mansfield, it was all socked in with clouds. I'm hoping for a better view today. Well, as you can see, I slipped one time and went right into the mud, so now my foot's all wet. I do have a dry change of socks, so we get up to the summit, I'll probably go ahead and change. One other thing I gotta keep trying to remind myself is to go and pace myself. I could go a little bit faster, but try not to get too sweaty, because I know once we get up higher above the tree line and up towards the summit, we're going to experience some colder temperatures, and I don't want to be all sweaty when I get up there, get chilled too fast. So just trying to take my time. We'll get there. We got all day to make it. So at this point, the trail is basically turned into a rock hopping exercise. Try to stay out of the water as much as possible. Beautiful stream running right next to the trail. Getting kind of hot and sweaty up here, but the cool air coming off of that stream is definitely helping. It's beautiful up here. It's beautiful. Wow. All right, and back across the stream again. So a brand new bridge they just put in here. Nice. Okay, well, after about 4 miles of hiking, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break, get a drink, a snack, and take a little rest here right alongside the creek. Looks like a nice spot to take a break, so I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. All right, another tip for hikers trying to get to the top of Mount Marcy. I know in these rocks you're typically looking down trying to do your foot placement correctly, but every once in a while look up, because I almost walked right by this sign here. So the trail goes off to the right here away from the stream. I almost missed that, so just be careful. I can tell you one thing, Mount Marcy is not showing any mercy on me. This is a tough trail. This section here is brutal. A lot of up, a lot of roots, a lot of rocks, a lot of water. Adirondack stream crossing. It looks like we got another trail junction here. I think Mount Marcy is going to be up to the left. And looks like we're getting up high enough in elevation. There's a warning sign here. Says weather subject to change. So looks like a nice day. So I think we're going to be all right as far as the weather goes. Still hoping we're going to have a nice view at the top. Once we started climbing in elevation, we've done nothing but rock hop, bounce on logs, try to avoid the water, a couple of stream crossings, but yeah, my feet are pretty wet now. We'll definitely change in socks when we get up to the top. But I mean, still all in all, we knew it was going to be a tough hike when we started, and we're making it. I'm still enjoying being out here in the great outdoors. I'm not sure what's going on here in this little section. Beautiful forest again. The rocks have thinned out some, but it seems as though we are heading downhill, so which is a nice break, but that means we're going to have to climb even more at some point, and we're going to have to do some climbing on the way back. So here's another cool looking mushroom on the side of the trail here. Not sure what that is. It looks like we're coming into a little clearing here. And there's the sun shining down on me. Nice. Very nice. I really like these little boardwalks. Pretty fun to walk on. All right, guys, well, we're definitely getting up in elevation. Sun's starting to peek through the trees. I think we're close to the alpine zone up here. The trees are definitely stunted. They're maybe, I'm gonna say 40 feet, maybe a little bit taller than that. But we're also starting to get some little peekaboo views through the trees down into the valley there. So we're getting there. All right, here's a little pro tip. When you're hiking on these slabs that are wet and have running water on them, obviously they're very slippery. So I have a tendency, I know when you're hiking, you're breathing heavy through your mouth, but I have a tendency when I get to these areas to kind of close my mouth and clench my teeth in case I slip and fall. I don't want to bite my tongue or the cheek or anything. I've actually gone down in the White Mountains when I was hiking out there, and luckily I didn't bite my cheek or anything, but I did tear tendons in my wrist. I'll show that video right now, but just be super careful on these wet, slippery rocks. I think I'm coming up to the backside there, but it's all right. I made it. Whew. Oh yeah. So I just happened to be filming that day when I was hiking up, and caught it on camera. So that's that was one of my hikes out in the White Mountains in New Hampshire. I'll put a link in the video description down below. If you haven't seen that, you might want to go check it out. It was a 3-part series that I did on a hiking trip out in New Hampshire. All right, trail's getting a little narrow here, but you can see I'm almost as tall as the trees now. Definitely in the alpine zone here. Let's get up here on top of this. We'll turn around Here's our first really good view. Check it out, guys. Ooh, it's beautiful. Looks like we got some rock scrambling to do here. Might have to put away the camera, see how this goes, but now we're definitely pretty much right at the tree line, so. All right, guys, this looks like we're at the summit of Little Marcy. Awesome expansive views here. Some that where down that way is where we came from. Not sure where, but pretty awesome. And there is Marcy. We're almost there. Check it out. This old guy's gonna make it. Feeling good. Little incentive there to see the actual summit. Now we have the goal in sight, so let's keep going. Definitely starting to get breezy up here. All right, guys, getting a little windy up here, but we're gonna make the final push up to the summit, so let's go. Top of Mount Marcy. Mount Marcy is located in the heart of the High Peaks Wilderness area in the Adirondack Park. On clear days, 43 of the other 45 high peaks are visible from the peak of Mount Marcy. Lake Champlain can also be seen to the east, and Royal Mount in Quebec can be seen to the north, 65 miles away. I don't know if there's a marker per se, but we're definitely on top of Mount Marcy. No doubt. Let's go check this out. All right. Here we are. Top of Mount Marcy. Took me 4 hours and 50 minutes to get here, and I think it was just about 7.5 miles to get up to the top. It's my 15th state high point, and I'm psyched. That was a pretty tough one to get up here, but we made it. So let's go check it out and go look around and see the sights and get a reward for hiking all the way up here. We are right above the plaque right here, and somewhere up here is going to be a summit marker marking the actual high point. Let's see if we can find it somewhere close up here. There we go. Survey marker right here. High point of New York, Mount Marcy. Look at these beautiful views. 360 degrees. Made it up here. Okay. Awesome. I believe off to the distance on this direction is actually Lake Placid, and down at the bottom there is where we started the hike, somewhere down there. So we got about 7.5 miles back. I'm gonna try to beat the sunset here and get back to the car before it gets dark. So unfortunately not gonna get to stay up here on top of the mountain for very long, but just loving it while I'm here. Okay, everybody, this is the top of Mount Marcy, so wanted to thank you for coming along on this adventure with me. It's pretty windy up here. As you can see, I had to put my coat and my hat on. Try to stay warm up here, all sweaty, and that breeze is really taking it out of me. So we're not going to stay up here too long. Unfortunately, 5 hours of hiking. Going to be up here for 15 minutes, but this is a beautiful view up here. So I just wanted to again thank you for coming along with me on this adventure, and hopefully you liked the video, and give me a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe to the channel. And I guess until next time, like I always say, you never know what you're going to see when you get out and explore with John. Hey everybody, well, I'm on my way back down. I'm finally back into the tree line so I can hear myself talk. Again, I wanted to thank you for coming along on this cool adventure. What a hike that was, getting up there to the top. I don't know if you could hear me or not, but now I'm back down here. I'm heading back down the trail. Appreciate you watching the video this far. If I see anything cool on the way back, I'll certainly video it for you. If not, I will see you back at the car, hopefully before the sun goes down. Check out this little moss-covered waterfall. That is just gorgeous. Not big, but man, beautiful. All right, so we made it back to the one of the big water crossings here. But for those of you who hung around in the video this long, see there's a trail sign up here that says Indian Falls to the right. So we're gonna make a little side trip on the way back, give you some bonus footage of Indian Falls. Let's go see what's down here. I think it's only about a 1/10 of a mile or so, but we'll go check it out and see the falls. Okay, we are here. Whoa, check this out. Way cool. Almost be like a natural rock slide. Take a look. Nice view, man. Wow, that is beautiful. Check that out. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. Yeah, I don't think I want to slide down that, but it's pretty just to look at. A nice view off into the distance there also. Wow. Worth a couple of extra steps just to check this out. Okay, well, you know I had to come down a little bit closer to the bottom and check it out. So here's the view. I'm about halfway down the falls. I don't think I can get any farther. But wow, pretty awesome. Hey, even this is beautiful. Wow. Glad I took the little side trail. Let's see if I can get back across without getting my feet wet. Woo. Yeah, nice. Much better than the first time. Okay, we made it back to the little valley here and the remains of the dam. We'll look at it from the other side. If I was here a little bit later, we could get a nice sunset, but I'm not going to wait around for that. But it is absolutely gorgeous out here. The only thing that would make it better would be a moose or a bear, but it is unbelievable. Wow. There's the dam. Okay, made it back to the trailhead. If that ain't a sight for sore eyes and sore feet and sore knees, so tired I can't even talk. Sore shoulders. Basically, everything's sore at this point, but man, that was an awesome hike. All right, so back at the register here, we got to sign out. They made us sign in for a reason. Let's go ahead and sign out so they don't unnecessarily send a search and rescue up there to find us. Make sure you do that when you get back. Oh, hey guys, you made it. Thanks for watching to the end. I appreciate it. Let me tell you how good that feels. Get these wet boots off. My feet have been wet for hours. I'm sure they look like prunes, but and what we accomplished today was bucket list. Oh boy, that feels good. So just wanted to give you a little recap of the day's hike. I'd say all trails rates this trail, Van Hoven Trail, as hard. And now my synopsis of that is hard. That's it, hard. First 2.5 miles or so out to the dam, very enjoyable. I think pretty much anybody could do it, even with little kids or pets. But after that, you need to have a little bit of a hiking experience and be prepared for, as Mr. T would say, I predict pain. It was a hard hike. I definitely have to rate it as probably my top 3 hardest hikes for state high points, along with Mount Mansfield out in Vermont and Mount Rogers in Virginia. Those 2 would be on par with this. It was a pretty tough hike. My watch says it was, let's see, 16.5 miles. Of course, that's me walking back and forth a bunch of time, video and stuff, and exploring up on the summit. 16.5 miles. Took me 9 hours and 53 minutes, so I definitely overestimated my hiking speed. I was hoping to shoot for around 8 hours. No chance. We're pushing 10 here, and I'm pretty exhausted. I was definitely pushing myself. All right, one thing I'd like to tell you about, refresh your memory on your high school physics class. Remember when they said water takes the path of least resistance? That is very true. And today, the path of least resistance for that water is right down that trail. So you can bet that if you're hiking that trail, there's about a 0 to 5% chance that your feet are going to stay dry hiking up to the top of Mount Marcy. My feet are soaked. No matter how you try to avoid it, the water coming down off that trail is just everywhere, and you're going to get wet. So bring some extra socks with you and just embrace the suck. Enjoy the journey, because once you get to the top, in my opinion, those views were well worth all the suffering that you were going to endure to get up there. So I had a great time. It wasn't always great getting there, but I thoroughly enjoyed that hike. I would highly recommend it. The views at the top are awesome. So I think this is going to be the last time I sign out on this video today. So once again, thanks for sticking with me to the end. I appreciate it. Give me that thumbs up, and I guess I'll see you in the next one, because like I always say, you never know what you're going to see when you get out and explore with John.